So, yesterday we talked about using negative space, right? About being able to close in this distance. Well, you're longer, right? So your arm should have a more maximum distance than mine, right? So, can I touch you and you touch me, right? You can touch me sooner. So what we're gonna work out is this positive space, right? Working things through extension. So I'm gonna basically stay out of zone prior to going in, because I'm trying to come in and like keep getting clocked. It's not always gonna win, right? So we're gonna stay outside of the zone, right? They go to extend towards you, right? This type of extension is what we're looking for. Most people will just leave their hand out, but what we're gonna see is that there is a point of time where there's extension and we can either force the weight to continue, right? Or we can in fact capture.
Parrying and trapping.
Yeah. So we can see the same effect in legs, right? So if they kick at us, right, we can either, again, clear out, right, pass it through, helping it go through, or by basically capturing it. Well, no, it's kicking that low, right? So you're kicking me, remember? So boom, capturing it, and now we go into our grappling, aka single legs, etc. Right? Now, this is control through the positive or air quote extension, right? Your arm is only so far, right? So if I apply pressure to it this way, what is happening?
Going this way.
Right? You now see how the force of motion of the body is, right? If we can do it one way, we can do it another. Does that make sense? Okay. And if we can do it with one, we can actually do it with both, right? So let's say I'm over here, you throw, right? I'm here, each side to throw again. You see how both of your hands are through extension?
Yeah.
Right? Now,
Oh.
another version of extension, double extension, does that make sense? Another version of double extension.
That's just weird.
No. So these are real things that can happen. So we shell up, we get in like this, they try to hit us, right? We shell up, right? We come here, most people try to square up with you, right?
That's score hold.
Right? And there's no difference between that.
Oh.
Exactly. So like, there's throws and all kinds of other stuff, right? And what we're doing is we're controlling their limbs to extension, right? His limb is extended. If he tries to punch me now with the same thing, he has to actually walk forward to hit me. There's no punch, right?
It's a push.
And he tries to punch me here. There's no power, but the function of motion is still there. But he can't do the function of punching me here. He can walk forward and touch me, right? But there's no punch, right? So if we control it through extension, there is no strike, right? So that's what we're looking to control, is the striking capability. So we're gonna stay outside of those ranges, right? We either parry, captures, right? Or we kind of do that kind of capturing it this way, right? I don't really care which way you do it, right? Or if you literally just pass it by, and come in, right? But this is no different than if people are throwing punches, and you see that there's gonna get a little bit of extra rotation, you just overfeed. Overfeed and get to the back, right? Same thing as we exhibit in the legs, right? They kick, right? We can always step by and help it along, right? So go ahead and give me a kick, boom, and you see how I can get to your back, right? Or I step in and I capture, right? And I go into single legs. I wasn't even trying to take you down.
Look, that's slippery.
Right? So, the easiest way to think about this is either the split or connection dilemma, right? If your hands are together, right, do you feel very powerful like this? No. If your hands are super far apart, do you feel very powerful like this?
No.
The same thing happens with your legs, right? If I want a single leg, I want to get your legs as far away as possible, or I want them to get very close together, and then I'm going into a double leg, right? This works either here, right? You see me controlling this, getting it further away from your other hand, right? There's nothing to support it, now I can just drive down, right? Well, same thing here. There's only so much distance that your leg can go, right? So if I went, whoop, you see how easy you want to fall down?
Yeah.
Or if I went, whoop,
I want to fall back.
exactly. So the further I get your legs apart, the more likely you are to fall down, right? The same thing happens is your legs are pinched together. You also can't kick like this. You could try, do a little fucking kangaroo hop,
Meh.
but without intention, right, it's not gonna have a lot of power and it's not gonna be very effective. Does that make sense? Alright, now that I'm done talking and doing all the silly stuff, so what does this actually look like? It looks like, again, staying out of that range, just that, right? I literally I'm coming offline, and then I'm going to crash into that negative space, right? Because again, we're using the positive space to get into the negative, because we're trying to grapple. I don't grapple out here, right? Neither of us is very effective at grappling out here, because it just doesn't work very well, right? So grappling is always about trying to get into the negative. I'm using your positive space to get into the negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all I'm literally doing is basically taking side motion, coming back in. The hand motion, I don't really care. Slap it out of the way, put your cross arm across, any of that kind of nonsense. Karate, fucking, all the things to do the same exact thing. Slap boxing, I don't know if you've ever done it. You slap people's hands. But so if I was coming here to box you, you literally just slap the hand away. Just like that. No different than so like, striking is its own skill set, just like grappling. And it takes haptic and timing and all that kind of stuff. And the further we get away from the control point, the more we actually have to be able to apply those principles, right? So like you can do all kinds of, like, can you throw a punch for me? Right? You see how I could actually throw you, even in that motion. Right? We can break it, we can throw it, we can break it again. Right? But like the further you are away, the more precise on those movements you have to be. Because let's say I do the same thing. Does that feel like anything? No, it does not. Right. Does that feel like anything? Not really. Something got a little bit of motion, but like that feels like something though, right?
Yeah.
Alright? Throw a punch. So keep pulling. Right? That's a break. That's a break.
Oh.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So the further you get away from the core, the more precise those movements have to be, right? So I don't believe that people starting out should try to use the periphery as control methods for a human being, right? Even though they do work, right? I just controlled your motion that way, did I not?
Yeah.
Right? And you did want to move, right? You didn't willingly just be like, ah, yeah, I'm not gonna stand there anymore, right? Because it causes motion, right? That is harder for me to do out here than it is right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So more control the closer I get. Now, you can absolutely do it from farther away, but you do you. Make sense? Questions?
No.
Cool. Go play. So we're gonna cover something that makes it a little easier. Why don't you come forward? Right. All right. So there's a live side and a dead side of a human being when it comes to striking.
Okay.
Right. If he's putting his hands out, put both your hands out. Right. If I am traveling to the inside, this is the live side of a human being. If I'm traveling to the outside, is the dead side of a human being. Right. The reason why, come back to a fighting stance, he punches with his lead hand. Can he effectively hit me with the other hand?
No.
Can he effectively hit me with the other hand? One is a live side, one is a dead side.
Okay.
Right? One has the ability to strike as effectively, right, versus the other side. We're always looking to get to the dead side as much as possible. Does that make sense? So when we are here, and if we block to the inside, we have to protect. Right?
Okay.
Otherwise, that hand is humming, right?
And you're in that range where it's gonna
So like, if that's the case, I'm looking to
bury it.
now those punches might hurt a little, but they're not gonna take me out, right? So we're always looking to get the dead side of a human, right? So that's why when we're blocking, we're parrying, we're here, right? You don't see me blocking and parrying to here, right? Because he's walking to a punch, right? Assuming he wants to hit
And you
me,
even gave him more rotation by pairing it to the outside.
right? So I'm looking to not get hit. So that's why I'm traveling to the outside. Does that make sense? And you see I'm taking steps forward once those punches are thrown, because I don't want him to be able to throw another one. Now, another thing I will note, right, that you're gonna see more of the higher you get into it, right? If I block that punch, right, and he's turning, you see I have to bury my head. If I do not bury my head, right? He's going to beat me on the rotation.
Okay.
His chest is gonna get back, and then we'll be here. Does that make sense? And also, you have to worry about elbows, right? If I put my head on the back of his back, right? There's no chance I'm getting an elbow. But there's also no chance he's beating me on the rotation, right? So from here, I go boom. Can he elbow me?
Excuse me.
Not with any force.
Not with any force, right? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking not to get hit, right? That's why I'm going to dead side. If I did something similar and I did to the live side and I was like, whoom, right? I can still get hit. I can get kneed. I can get all kinds of shit, right? So, try to always go to the dead side of you. And make sure that they are not in your dead side. AKA, I don't want people fighting me right here, right? So if I know there's a human being in front of me, I do not want them to be like this, right? If that is the case, I need to swap my stance. Now they're back in front of both my hands,
Keeping
both
them
my
on your
legs,
X.
right? Now, if they're fighting like this, right, they are only fighting half of my body, and if they beat that half of my body, now they're not fighting any part of my body. So that's what I'm looking for when we're doing this. All right, go back to play.
Beam the leg kick in.
All right. So we're here, right? And we're working to get to people's dead side, right? And we're looking to control them through extension. Does that make sense? We've covered both of those kind of aspects. So we're gonna be here, we're gonna control, right? And I want you to control that posture, right? Even if I'm here and I just drive in, he wants to fall down. If I'm coming here and I keep circling, he wants to fall down, right? So I'm literally just going to basically parry and get control. 2-on-1 style, no different than when we do an arm drag to a Russian, right? This is grappling, that's all we're doing, right? If I want to collect the head, I can collect the head. I don't really care, right? But this is what we're looking to do. I want you to end up with the 2-on-1. Make sense? Okay, just do that for now. So, we talked about how we're gonna deal with the hand, right? Now, we're gonna deal with the foot, right? And we're gonna use the split leg dilemma versus the closed leg dilemma. What does that mean? Well, if his legs are together, again, it makes it easy to topple someone. If his legs are very far away, it's very hard for him to do anything mobile, right? If you try to kick someone like this, it's not gonna do anything. Yar, right? Try to kick someone like this, yar, right? Now, with the proper intent, right? If I knew I was gonna fucking, what do y'all call it, kangaroo kick? And I squat, jump up, and I launch horizontally into your body, I can absolutely kick like this, right? Not very common, not very effective, right? Arguably, I could do more damage simply by doing this, right? AKA a side kick. But you can, in fact, do that motion, right? And the same thing can be said for here. We can, in fact, kick people
Wide
like
horse
this,
stance.
right? Now, is it common and is it effective? No, it is not, right? Because people who are standing like this and who are going to try to kick you, you could literally just touch their leg and they're pretty much going to fall down, right? This is what we're looking for, right? So if they kick us, right, they're going for extension, you go to kick, right? Boom, right? I'm going to capture it, right? And I'm going to cause extension, right? You see how he wants to follow me, right? The further his leg extends away, the weaker he gets. Now, if he gets wise to this act, right? He kicks, shwoom, right? I catch it, and I can't lift up his leg. He's being really good about the defense. I can always collapse them together, right? We're either going to collapse them together, extend them away, right? I don't really care how you do it. There's like a bunch of technical ways you can do it, right? So like he kicks, right, boom, and I'm like, oh, I want to hike it up, right? You would pass the hand here, wow, right, cool, I don't care, right? You have it like this, clothesline, wow, right? All I am doing is I'm causing leg separation of this fashion, right? Or I'm causing his legs to come together and tipping him over, right? Does that make sense? And if you're confused about this, can you lay down for me?
How about that?
Yep. This is no different than here. His legs are together. Easy to pass, right? His legs are apart. Easy to pass, right? Does that make sense? Just so this is the same thing of split versus closed leg. Except we're gonna do it while we're standing. Make sense? Perfect. Okay, so I just want y'all to do that with each other. Either bring people's legs apart or bring them together. I think you'll find that it's much easier to bring people's legs apart.